Are we live? Hang on a second. Are we live right now? Wait, whoa. Are we live? Hold up. Wait a second. Are we live right now? What's up, Star Wars fans? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. So we got a lot to talk about today. Of course, the finale of The Mandalorian Season 3. The Mandalorian Season 3 is over. We got to talk about, was it good? Was it not good? We got to talk about the finale, whether or not it was good or bad. Was it the perfect ending, or is it even an ending at all? We got a lot to talk about today. We got some Ahsoka news as well. We got some other news in Star Wars in general. What to look forward to from Star Wars moving forward, because look, the show is over. It's over. So let's start a poll right away. Let's start a poll right away on whether or not you liked this episode. Honey Badger first in says, need an uplift today. Glad you are live. Let's effing go. What's up, guys? What is up, guys? Kyle says, I don't think it's an ending at all. Me either, Kyle. And here, we're going to pull it up. Here we go. Did you like the finale? Did you like the finale? Yes or no? Let's see. What did you think? What did you think? Let's see. So we did a live watch party on yesterday. We did a live watch party yesterday, and I was absolutely shocked at how many people showed up. It was crazy. But the common consensus was it was good, decent, but not great. Not bad. There were some people who hated it. There were some people who loved it. There was a lot of people in between. But the common consensus around the episode was it was a good ending to the season. Now, the season, many people believe, was very lackluster. And you could argue that. But I believe, what is going on with my poll here? Is my poll doing a crazy thing for you guys too? Why is it doing that? Hang on, I'm going to have to end the poll. I'm ending the poll. Did that even, what the heck? I'm restarting the poll. It was doing a weird thing. Did you like the finale? I don't know what just happened, but the poll did a weird thing. So let's try that again. Yes or no? Did you like the finale? So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it, but there is a lot to talk about when it comes to this finale. Okay, I think the poll's fixed, so vote on it again. When it comes to this finale, I think there's a lot to talk about. It does set up a lot for the future of the Mandoverse, and of course, we got to talk about Dave Filoni's movie that comes out in 3 years, not even 4 years, 3 years from now, we're getting Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie. It's not going to be called The Mandalorian. Most likely, I'm just guessing, it will be called Heir to the Empire, which I really hope it is. That would just be a great feel-good title, and it would make perfect sense because Ahsoka, we already know, is going to say it in her show, and it'll be a lot like Tony Stark saying Endgame in Age of Ultron years before Endgame even came out. So yeah, that's the whole thing. But the Mandoverse is going to continue to move forward, but many people asked, why was this like a actual ending? Why was it Grogu and Din are here doing something, just hanging out? They're literally they wrapped up the story and even did the Looney Tunes thing where they zoomed in on Grogu and then went to black. It seemed like an ending, and many people are like, well, why would they do that if there's going to be a season 4? Almost, it could be as soon as next year. They're going to start filming it in October. And here's my answer to that. The Ahsoka show. The Ahsoka show is going to blow all of this up. Like, we got a cool ending. And we'll talk about the episode as a whole in a second. But we got a good ending with this finale here. We got a good ending, but the Ahsoka show is going to do insane things. But the story that was Season 1, Season 2, The Book of Boba Fett, and Season 3 of The Mandalorian is now technically over. And now we're going to move into a different story. And just like everything in Star Wars, everything's all connected. So you could say that these first 3 seasons are just the trilogy of The Mandalorian, or Phase 1 of the Mandoverse. And the Ahsoka show is going to kick off Phase 2 or another phase of this Mandoverse. So yes, Season 3 is kind of an ending. It was how they brought Mandalore back to life, but brought the Mandalorians back together. The Mandalore is a place now. Mandalore is a place in the galaxy that people can go to, a place in the galaxy where all the Mandalorians are hanging out. It's going to be awesome to see Mandalore moving forward. We obviously know no Mandalorians are in the sequel trilogy, and Mandalore itself is not in the sequel trilogy, but that could easily be explained. I mean, look, the sequel trilogy, you have the First Order and the New Republic. Mandalore obviously wants to stay away from the New Republic because they want to be their own thing. They know what happened with the Republic and, of course, the Empire, so they have pretty serious trust issues, but also they're just rebuilding themselves. And of course, they would not trust the First Order at all. They saw what happened with the Empire. Explaining Mandalore not being in the sequels is simple and easy. Okay, let me see. Honey Badger says, I enjoyed the ending. Kyle says, I love happy endings, of course. Set the Tone Max, in all caps, says, it was cool. Where did Grogu even come from to save Din at the beginning? That is interesting. Yeah, there was a bit of a, like, I don't know, a weird, like, didn't explain, but you didn't really have to explain it. Like, they just split up. Grogu escapes with the other Mandalorians and Bo, but he splits off from them right away and goes back to save Din. Yeah, I don't know. Honey Badger says, yes, it wrapped up the storyline from season 1 through 3 and set Din and Din Grogu, I love that his name's Din Grogu, to be bounty hunters for the New Republic. Season 4 has a lot of potential and Din survived. #no free ponchos. Exactly. He follows up and says, he left Bo's group where she cut through the blast doors to find Din. He paid attention to when he got captured in episode 7. Yeah, no, I don't think it's that crazy to just think that Grogu just went after Din. It's not like, oh my god, how could they not explain that? It's a pretty simple thing. Kyle says, the Darth Maul pop figure is cool. Who bought that for you? Darth Maul? Oh, that one right there. This nice friend of mine bought that for me. Yeah. He's a nice guy. Yeah, we got some nice pop figures behind me. No, so let's break down the episode. Let's break down the entire episode, okay? So it opens with Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians going out into the caves that they came in from, trying to leave this Imperial base on the planet. And Bo calls out to Axe Woves. And we immediately find out that Axe is not the spy. We later find out that the armor is not the spy. Nobody is the spy because guess what? There was no spy. Now, this angered a lot of people. They were like, they had us theorizing on who a spy could possibly be for the last week and it didn't happen. But it wasn't the biggest deal ever. Honestly, it's a good thing because now Mandalorians can trust each other, they can grow together, and there isn't a spy in their ranks. Some people actually believe that there still could be a spy, and we don't know about it yet, but come on. That's just not true. It's not true. Mandalorian's back. Mandalorians are back on Mandalore, and that's great. Then we get, of course, Din Djarin being taken away by 2 of the Imperial troopers, and he tries to escape. It looks like he might actually do it, and then he, of course, starts to get choked out. And Grogu has to come in and save him, of course, going, no. Honestly, I'm going to miss the IG-12 suit with Grogu because him just saying yes and no was freaking hilarious. But regardless, I'll talk about that in a second, Honey Badger. So regardless, Grogu comes and saves Din. Then he says, look, Grogu, I need you to be brave. We're going to go kill Moff Gideon. He's like, he's done too much. We need to just off this guy. And that is eventually what ends up happening. But it's kind of crazy that Din even said that. Din is, I mean, he was very ruthless at the beginning of season 1. The story arc that Din Djarin has gone on is insane. From episode 1 of season 1, he doesn't trust droids. He literally cuts a guy in half almost immediately with the door. And he's ruthless, and he does not care for anybody. But fast forward to season 3, he cares about Grogu. He takes care of Grogu. He cares about bringing the Mandalorians back together, reclaiming Mandalore, and he trusts droids. Let's be honest, he put Grogu, the person that he cares for the most, inside of one. So obviously Din Djarin has gone on some crazy character journey throughout these 3 seasons, but we'll get into that after. So they continue, and they have to go find Moff Gideon's command center. But how are they going to do that when they don't know what this freaking base looks like? So he calls his good pal R5. Yes, the same exact R5 that's been sitting behind me, right in front of the Darth Maul pop figure, this entire time, for years now, has been sitting right behind me. R5, the one with the bad motivator. Uncle Owen. Yeah, no, that's R5. That's R5, okay? And R5 gets his moment to shine, okay? R5 is the GOAT in this episode. He's like R2-D2 in Revenge of the Sith. He's the guy who comes along and starts helping everybody out. R5 really gets his shining moments in this season finale, and it was great. So he flies down into the Imperial base, or right on the edge of the Imperial base, and he taps into the systems, and he figures out where the command center is for Din and Grogu. Meanwhile, you see Moff Gideon get informed that the TIE interceptors and bombers took off, which again look unbelievable. Like, just all the visual shots in this season, nobody, not a single soul could tell me that the visuals don't look good in this season. It's just a lie. It's a lie. Hannah Nelson says, what's the difference between R5 and R2? Well, almost everything, Hannah. Jeez. R5, okay. Okay. This is not R2, okay? But let's pretend for a second that this is R2, okay? This is R2-D2, okay? See the nice round head he's got there? Just imagine it's blue. Then you got this one, R5. Completely different. Completely different. Okay, continuing. So R5 taps into the system, tells him blah, 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 blah. Then you see Moff Gideon, and he puts his mask on. And when he says, like, I'll handle it myself or whatever he says, he sounds so much like Kylo Ren in a mix of Darth Vader, and it's just awesome. It's awesome. His armor looks amazing. Moff Gideon's really, like, peaked in this finale, and of course he peaks because he's freaking dead. But he really got the best version of Moff Gideon. But then we get Axe Wolves, who goes up to the fleet, and they abandon the cruiser. They bring all the gauntlets and the rest of the Mandalorians down to the surface to help Bo and the other Mandalorians fight against the Empire on the Imperial base. But we get the greatest thing that Din Djarin has ever done in the history of this freaking show. And Din Djarin gets his own hallway scene. And it was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. It was awesome. Now, you can kind of just compare and contrast hallway scenes between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and now Din Djarin. But let's be real, Din Djarin doesn't have the Force, so that kind of gives him a step up in his hallway scene because it was freaking epic. He is working with R5 through it, and of course, I honestly think this hallway scene could be better than, I'd definitely say Obi-Wan's hallway scene. But it could be even better than like Darth Maul's or even Luke Skywalker's. This was such a cool hallway scene. And Honey Badger just said Din Djarin's hallway scene's better than Vader, Luke's, Obi-Wan's, and Maul's. Wow. It was so cool. It was like the peak coolest thing we've seen Din Djarin do ever. And it was the perfect time because a lot of people were like, oh, Din Djarin's sitting in the back seat of his own season. And a lot of people were upset about that. But then he gets this awesome hallway scene. And the whole way that it was set up was perfect. You had R5 and he's like, open the next blast door, open the next blast door, or open the next ray shield, whatever it was. And he was just taking them out one by one. He starts with no weapons. Okay, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out too much, okay? Freaking out too much. Okay, calm down. Okay. So, after he gets through those, he comes upon the back-to-tank room that we saw in the last episode. Now, the back-to-tanks, there's about a dozen of them, and we see a closer look because Grogu goes to check what the hell's going on in these back-to-tanks, and it's Moff Gideon. They're all clones of Moff Gideon. We later find out they're Force-sensitive clones, and that's why he opens his eyes, because he senses Grogu right in front of him. He opens his eyes, and Din Djarin booby traps the back-to-tanks to explode. And kind of a bummer, honestly. Probably my biggest gripe on the episode was that we didn't actually get to see these Force-sensitive clones actually come out. But what this actually sets up for the future of the Mandoverse and Star Wars in general is crazy. The fact that Dr. Pershing and the Empire and Moff Gideon in very limited times, I mean, it is the remnant of the Empire, this isn't the peak of the Empire, we're able to create Force-sensitive clones of Moff Gideon, and not just one, but like 15, like a ton of Mandalorian. I went back, Force-sensitive clones. I went back and watched the scene. It's hard to tell how many back-to-tanks there actually are, but I think it's like 16 or 15 or something like that. Yeah. So, here's the thing. A lot of people were upset that those back-to-tanks just exploded and we didn't get to see the Force-sensitive guys actually do anything. And that's okay. And you could be upset about that. But what it actually sets up for the future, for Snoke, for Palpatine, is wild. And hopefully we get Snoke sometime soon, and we actually get to see Supreme Leader Snoke in his build to power. Because, of course, we know the First Order is very, very strong come The Force Awakens. And they all follow Supreme Leader Snoke. But as of right now, Supreme Leader Snoke doesn't even exist, which is kind of crazy. And you saw in the Shadow Council meeting in the last episode that they are all about ready to follow Grand Admiral Thrawn when he gets back. At least the majority of them. Not Moff Gideon, but now he's dead, so who cares? But they're ready to follow Grand Admiral Thrawn. And the fact that Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to come in, there's going to be this whole big movie event, and he's most likely going to die because he's not in the sequel trilogy, and Snoke is going to come in and take the place of Grand Admiral Thrawn and bring in the First Order. If characters like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia are actually involved in this heir to the Empire Thrawn type thing in the movie, how was that not mentioned in the sequel trilogy? How was that not mentioned in the sequel trilogy? I don't know. Okay, back to breaking down the episode, okay? Back to breaking down the episode. So, they finally get to the control room where Gideon's like, "You killed my babies!" That's exactly what he says. And he's like, before they could even speak their first breath, and he's pretty upset about it. But while that's happening, we see Bo and the other Mandalorians land in some cave that the pirate Mandalorians, the Mandalorians that have survived on the surface of the planet, they have had many caves across the surface of Mandalore that are growing plants. And Mandalore has been known to be like a desolate wasteland because the Mandalorian people have been at civil wars for thousands of years, not allowing the planet to even grow plants. So Bo-Katan was like, whoa, these plants actually exist? And he was like, yeah, well, when the war stopped, it kind of started to grow. So now it seems like Mandalore could actually be a sustainable planet where you don't have to live under a dome like they used to in the old days. But maybe they'll go back to the domes. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we get to see that scene, and then the armor is like, hey, look, reinforcements are here. And we get to see the armor come down, and all the Mandalorians jetpacking to the Imperial base. Bo-Katan, Darksaber in hand, leading the charge. The armor with a hammer, literally going around like Thor, swinging that hammer. And we get, I argue that this could be the greatest, one of the greatest, okay? Obviously, take lightsaber battles out of the conversation. One of the greatest fight scenes of all time in Star Wars. The Imperial troopers in Beskar armor with jetpacks versus the Mandalorians with the Darksaber with Bo-Katan leading them. It was so cool. It was very Clone Wars-esque. It was live action. It was just unbelievable. So many Mandalorians versus so many Imperial troopers fighting in the skies with jetpacks. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome, okay? But then you get Moff Gideon versus Din Djarin. Now, this fight doesn't really last all that long, and Din Djarin gets the crap beaten out of him, as he should. Moff Gideon's a very trained guy, and he's wearing the third generation of Dark Trooper armor, so he gets his ass whooped. And then the Praetorian Guards come out of nowhere and continue to whoop Din's ass. But Grogu's like, no, and the Praetorian Guards go after Grogu, and the two of them get separated by a blast door that closes, and Bo-Katan sees that and comes down and says, look, go get Grogu, I'll take care of Gideon. And we finally get what a lot of people wanted to see was Bo with the Darksaber versus Moff Gideon. And it was so unbelievably cool. Of course, it ends with the Darksaber being destroyed, which is kind of wild, but I do believe that is for the better. It will usher in the new generation of Mandalore where the people won't believe just in the ruler because they're just holding the Darksaber. If that makes sense. They'll believe that Bo-Katan is their ruler because she is the ruler and she actually deserves it, and of course brought all the Mandalorians back together and brought them back to their home. So I think the Darksaber being destroyed was a very symbolic thing of there's no more Mandalorians that believe that just because you have the Darksaber you can rule, or there's no more Mandalorians that say just because you don't take off your helmet you can rule. Mandalorians are one. So it's very symbolic that the Darksaber was destroyed because many people online were like, why did they have to destroy the Darksaber? Why couldn't they just keep Bo with the Darksaber? And I believe it is just to usher in the new next generation of Mandalorians. Now, I do believe that the Darksaber will either be brought back in some way or like one way or another, because I think Grogu's going to make his own lightsaber, and maybe that's a version of the Darksaber, but we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. But then we get Din and Grogu, the dynamic duo, fighting against the Praetorian Guards, and it was very, very cool. Grogu using the Force, Din using his awesomeness to take out the Praetorian Guards. And a lot of people were again upset, as always, about the Praetorian Guards and how weak they were, but they really weren't. They kicked Paz Vizsla's ass pretty quickly. They kicked Din Djarin's ass just because Grogu had the Force and Din Djarin had his blasters and all that stuff, and they were working together. Doesn't mean the Praetorian Guards weren't weak. It just means that our two main characters of this show are awesome, okay? But just when Bo-Katan's about to lose to Gideon and about to die, she says Mandalorians are stronger together, and Din and Grogu come out of nowhere, and the three of them take on Moff Gideon. When Axe Wolves comes out of the sky with a fiery mess of a star cruiser and crashes it into the Imperial base, tells all the Mandalorians to get out of there. Of course, Din, Bo, and Grogu cannot, and Grogu saves them all. Now Moff Gideon dead? What do we think? Is Moff Gideon actually dead? What do we think? Do you think Moff Gideon's actually dead? Either way, Grogu is badass, uses the Force to save all of them, and we get to see the end scenes with Paz Vizsla's son getting actually officially brought into the Creed in the Living Waters. You see Grogu get adopted by Din Djarin, and now he's Din Grogu. Then you see the Mythazar, because Grogu has a Force connection immediately to the Mythazar, which is going to be awesome and hopefully resolved in the 4th season or the movie, which would be epic. And then you see the Great Forge be lit by Bo and the Armorer, and you see, of course, Din go to the New Republic base and tell Carson Teva he's going to work for them now, and he puts IG-11 back together. He's the new Marshal of Navarro, and the best part of all of it is Din gets his own place on Navarro, this little hut that honestly I just want to live in, because he's got his N1 starfighter behind him. He's got this nice little hut, and it's very secluded, and it's him and Grogu, and they're just chilling, and it's awesome. Okay? It's awesome. So if I were to rank this episode, and I'm going to ask you guys to rank it in a second, if I were to rank this episode out of 10, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Now tell me what you think in the comment section below. Rank this episode out of 10 right now. Rank it out of 10. Let's see it. Let's see the rankages. And let me scroll back up here and read some of these chats. Honey Badger says, I think it's safe to say the spy was Elia Kane for Gideon and R5 for Mando. I think the Armorer is evil, though, mark my words. She's not evil. She's done. She's not evil. She's not evil. Hannah says, what was the difference between R5 and R2? We explained that to her. Kyle says, get her out of here. They're completely different astromech droids. She clearly is new to Star Wars. That's okay. We can have new people to Star Wars. That's okay. We actually appreciate new people in Star Wars here. Kyle. Swagger Like Us says, I just wish Gideon would have appeared by episode 3. Giancarlo is too great of an actor to only be in 2 episodes. Yeah, that is kind of a bummer. Him showing up in the last 2 episodes was kind of a bummer, but the way he showed up and all that was explained about him and his cloning stuff and the Shadow Council, we got a crap ton of things to learn about in those last 2 episodes about what the remnant of the Empire looks like. It's a lot more organized than people believe it to be. They're waiting for Grand Admiral Thrawn to come back. We got a lot of information, but yeah, I wish he was still in more. Kyle says I'd still marry her though. Yeah. Swagger Like Us says, glad the finale was self-contained to Mandalorians having to ultimately fix their problems. Yes, so I've seen this a lot. People were like, oh, well, Luke Skywalker didn't show up, and Ahsoka didn't show up, Boba Fett didn't show up. Boba Fett is kind of a bummer, but the other two, like, you can't just have Luke Skywalker show up in every finale for every season and just expect people to be okay with that. And just expect everybody to be like, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker! Oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker! It's Luke Skywalker! You can't just keep repeating yourself over and over again. And just like Swagger Like Us is saying, the Mandalorians needed to fix their own problems. They needed to do it all themselves. They needed to really get this going. You know? Honey Badger says, thank you. Set Mando and Grogu back to their roots from season 1 and season 2. Make them even more exciting for season 3. Exactly. Honey Badger follows up and says, and now, and he says, yeah, and now the Mandalorians are back. So is Mandalore itself. And we have a Mythosaur waiting. Exactly. And the Mythosaur is probably going to show up in the movie, I would guess. But I don't know. Do you think the Mythosaur will show up in season 4 or the movie? Do you think they're going to save all this stuff for the movie that comes up? I don't know. Anybody notice how Zeb was missing in that scene in the New Republic base? He went to find Hera in Ahsoka. I bet they're all going to link up in Ahsoka and the Ghost crew gets back together. I really hope we do see the entire Ghost crew back together, especially when Ezra's brought back into the galaxy and all that stuff. Yeah, I do hope so. Shane says, it's a clone. You're a clone, Shane. What's a clone? I'm confused. Swagger Like Us says, but I think Gideon is dead. Oh, Gideon was a clone. I don't think so. I think Gideon is dead. When he transferred his memories to a clone with Force abilities via the Mind Flayer. That's my theory. He'll be back. I think Moff Gideon's done. He's gone forever. Yeah, no, Shane, I follow now. I think he's done. I think he's gone forever. I think 3 seasons really wrapped up his story arc very, very well. We got to see what his whole mission was this entire time. Everything was answered in this finale. Literally this 3rd season, and the reason that the name of this stream is The Perfect Ending is because of what it did. It wasn't just the perfect ending to this 3rd season. It was the perfect ending to the story of these 3 seasons as a whole. It wrapped up the whole Moff Gideon's story, what he was doing this entire time, trying to make Force-sensitive clones with Dr. Pershing. We literally saw that all the way back in season 1, and we still didn't know what Dr. Pershing was doing, why Dr. Pershing was so important, all that stuff, until this last episode. It really wrapped that up really, really nicely. But no, I definitely think Moff Gideon's dead. Shane says, Dave is saving it for his baby, and they will give up on season 3 and are settling up for... What? You mean the Mythosaur? Saving that for... Oh, he's saving for his baby Ahsoka. I get you. Honey Badger says, hey, Mike, I'm about to leave my house, but I will take your live with me on my phone. If I'm not responsive, I apologize, but I'm still here. Yeah, don't worry about it, Honey Badger. Don't worry about it. Shane says, the difference between R5 and R2 is R3. Star Wars mathematics. Exactly. I hope he's done. I'm sick of him. We need a real threat. Yeah, Moff Gideon was a good threat for Din Djarin. But if you're talking about Ahsoka and Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and Mandalorians as a whole now, and Luke Skywalker and all these other people in the galaxy, all the other heroes, you need a bigger threat than Moff Gideon. Now, Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Unknown Regions or the New Beyond with an undead army and some Sith type characters is definitely a bigger threat and a better threat than what we saw with Moff Gideon. Now, if Moff Gideon got that whole army of Force sensitives, then that would have been a way bigger threat. But we're talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn here. Like, the two don't even compare. They're not even on the same scale. There's a big, big level difference. Let's see where our poll's at. What are we at? 88% of you liked the finale. That's the thing. I actually think that this finale was a good thing for the Star Wars fandom. The fact that you don't need Luke Skywalker or somebody enormous to show up in a show and it can still be good is kind of crazy. Now, again, the name of this stream is The Perfect Ending or A Perfect Ending. But I don't think this is an ending at all. Of course, the Ahsoka show is going to open up a slew of craziness, but with Grand Admiral Thrawn, with the New Beyond, with all this other stuff, with a actual big threat going on here, like, it's going to be insane. But I don't know. I think the Ahsoka show is going to be where we're moving on from here on out. Here's the question, all right? With Dave's movie coming out in 2026, do you think we'll get an Ahsoka Season 2, a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, and a Mandalorian Season 4? Or do you think we'll just get one or the other? Or do you think we'll get two or just maybe one of them? Because like John and Dave said, Season 4 is supposed to start filming in October. Shane says no season 2 for Ahsoka. I feel like the Ahsoka show will get a second season. Just one. But we talked about this a few weeks ago, that there was reports about how when the Ahsoka show was announced, and when it was on like the Disney's projects for the year or something, it had season 1 in parentheses next to it. And other shows that weren't supposed to be like multiple season shows didn't have season 1 next to it. Like the Skeleton Crew show didn't have season 1 next to it. Some special like one-time limited series didn't have season 1 next to it. And a lot of people thought this would be because that the Ahsoka show is going to get a second season. Honey Badger says, I think Ahsoka will get a second season if it gets the success it's supposed to get, along with a Mando season 4. A Mando season 5? You think there'll be 5 seasons of The Mandalorian? Here's what I think. I think we're going to run out of time before the Mando movie in 2026. We're definitely going to run out of time. You think about it. Next year, or this year, the remainder of this year is the Ahsoka show and the Skeleton Crew show. We're just talking about shows that take place in the Mando timeline, right? So those are the two that end this year. Then we go into 2024, and it seems like the only one that could come out that year that has to do with the Mandoverse would be Mando Season 4. Then you go into 2025, 1 year until the movie comes out. Now, I don't think they'll take a whole year off from the Mandoverse, so I do believe that either Ahsoka Season 2 or the Book of Boba Fett Season 2 will be that next story, because the movie is supposed to bring together all these characters, Ahsoka, Din Djarin, and Boba Fett, all the characters from each individual show coming together. And I don't think we'll leave Boba Fett for that long. He wasn't in this season, and chances are he won't be in the next season. But Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, came out in what, 2021? 2022? 2021 into 2022? So you're going to take 4 years off from Boba and then just bring him back in the movie? I don't know. What do we think? Book of Boba Fett Season 2 maybe in 2025? Here's the thing. When movies start to come back for Star Wars, which there of course are 3 of them in the works, will we see a drop-off in the content we're getting on Disney Plus, or will they keep the content going at the same rate? Do you think that because they're making movies, we will get less shows per year or less projects per year? Because think about it. This year, we got the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch Season 2. We got the Mandalorian Season 3. We're going to get the Ahsoka show, Star Wars Vision Season 2, and Skeleton Crew. 5 major projects in 1 year. When 2025 rolls around and the Rey movie's coming out, do you think we're going to see 5 Disney Plus projects and the Rey movie? Or do you think they're going to hold back on Disney Plus to further elevate the movies? I don't know. Honey Badger says, I think Boba will get a second season as well. They need to fix his character a little. And then give him a heroic death that he deserves. I do believe the movie will probably end Boba. I think he'll go out like Tony Stark or something. I think Boba Fett is going to see his end, hopefully in a heroic way, probably battling Thrawn or something like that. Hopefully. Swaggerliga says, the finale was great. The last 2 episodes delivered. Glad Mando Season 4's jumping off point is wide open. And Ahsoka and Thrawn on the horizon, introducing new threats in unexplored regions. I can't wait, Mike. I can't wait either. This is the I've said it a million times over these last couple of weeks. This is the perfect time to be a Star Wars fan. The perfect time to be a Star Wars fan. Because of what is on the horizon. Like he says, Grand Admiral Thrawn is in this new beyond, or the unknown regions, whatever you want to call it, and he's just back there, and he's in hiding, and he's building an army, and he's got some Sith people around him, and he's going to come into the galaxy as a new big threat. You also have expanded universe stuff. The Acolyte show going before The Phantom Menace. The Rey movie, and I know not a lot of people are excited for the Rey movie, but the Rey movie is going to go past the sequel trilogy. And guess what? James Mangold's making a Dawn of the Jedi movie, which is going to be 25,000 years before any events of the Skywalker saga. So, like, Star Wars is, like, if you want to jump into Star Wars, this is the perfect time to do it. You can watch the entire Skywalker saga, and if you do it 24 hours a day, it'll take you about a week. And then you can just jump right in and understand what is going to happen in all these different branches that they're branching out to do. And I think this is the absolute perfect time to be a Star Wars fan. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun next couple years, going into the Mando movie, going into the Rey movie, going into the Dawn of the Jedi movie. But of course, the Mandoverse as a whole, as it gets closer to the sequels, will it help the sequels? Will it save the sequels? Will it make the sequels better so that even some people that maybe like are like, oh, I kind of like the sequels, but this, that, and the other thing doesn't make sense? Can they make sense of that? And will the sequels be elevated because of what John and Dave have done here? Michigan Gal 007 says, Mandalorian wickets saved Star Wars. Wickets. Confused. Save Star Wars for me after the last three movies. Yeah. We don't need to talk about that. Honey Badger says Bob currently is the oldest. Boba Fett. Boba Fett is the oldest living Mandalorian at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we don't really know that for sure, but yeah, maybe. So if he sacrifices I see him sacrificing himself for Din. I could see that. I definitely see Boba dying at some point soon. Michigan Gal 007 says, bring back George Lucas for future Star Wars movie or Jon Favreau. Here's the thing. I think George Lucas, so it's confirmed that George Lucas was on set for multiple days for The Mandalorian Season 3, Mandalorian Season 2, and Mandalorian Season 1. Now, I'm not sure about the Book of Boba Fett, but look, he is still friends and talks to Dave Filoni on the regular. Like, Dave Filoni's his apprentice. He is the apprentice to George Lucas. So the two of them have conversations all the time. So you will see a lot of George Lucas in the Ahsoka show that's coming up, but you'll also see a lot of George Lucas in the Mandalorian timeline and all the stuff that Dave Filoni touches, because George Lucas is probably in his ear telling him things. But even if he's not, then Dave is bouncing ideas off of him and stuff like that. So yeah, George Lucas is not going to be heavily involved, but he will put his 2 cents in every once in a while, I'm sure. I think he's probably just rubbed the wrong way by Disney Star Wars because of what they did to the sequels, what they did to his legacy characters in the sequels and all that other stuff. So yeah, hopefully Dave can keep George around for a while. Shane says, Michigan Gal, amen. Yeah, exactly. Michigan Gal 007 says, as a writer, yeah, I doubt that. Honey Badger says, yes, it would make the sequels better, but not save them. JJ tried to do that with Episode 8. Dave's movie and the Rey movie are the last hope for me for saving episodes 7 to 9. I don't know about saving episode 7 to 9. Here's the thing. A lot of people, and I know it might sound crazy, but a lot of people actually enjoy the sequel trilogy. Now, me personally, I can go sit down and watch The Force Awakens and enjoy myself. Watching The Last Jedi is a little bit tougher, and even The Rise of Skywalker is a little bit tougher because, let's be honest, it was just trying to fix all the problems that were in episode 8. So it's kind of a crazy thing. The sequel trilogy, of course, and nobody really likes to talk about it because it's the sequel trilogy. But I actually do believe that if John and Dave stay on the trajectory that they are, with connecting characters like Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Han to this great story that is the Heir to the Empire with Grand Admiral Thrawn, Ahsoka, Mando, and all these other people, I do believe that they could actually make the sequels better. Now, if you already look at what they've done so far with cloning, with being Moff Gideon creating Force-sensitive clones, it kind of begins to explain Supreme Leader Snoke. You look at the Shadow Council meeting. You had General Hux's dad, Commandant Hux, working on Project Necromancer. Now that is most likely either bringing Snoke to life or bringing back Emperor Palpatine. So that right there is another connection to the sequel trilogy. And I don't know about you guys, but that didn't like throw me off. That wasn't like, ugh, the sequel trilogy, no. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys actually thought that. You were like, Shadow Council mentions the sequel trilogy. Pfft, turn my TV off. I'm done with this shit. No, thank you. But honestly, I liked it. Hearing the name Hux didn't like make me want to throw my controller at my TV or anything. It was like, okay, there's a sequel connection here. Could it be cool? Could it be fun? Seeing Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 wasn't like, oh, this guy's going to turn into a hermit on Arc 2 and be the worst character ever. That's not what happened. We were very, very excited to see Luke Skywalker and actually see his character. So if there is a way that John and Dave could explain what happened to Luke Skywalker in a way that will please many fans, let's say Luke Skywalker fights Snoke or something along those lines and finds out that if they can get Luke's blood, that they can create an army of Snokes or something along those lines. I actually do believe that most people would see that as a win. Now, maybe I'm crazy and maybe you really, really, really hate the sequel trilogy and you aren't even open to those ideas and your opinion. But I believe, and as I'm talking about the sequel trilogy, the vote for Did You Like the Finale is swinging quickly. It was at up to 91% of you liked the finale, but now it's down to 67. But I actually believe that they could not like make them so they're as good as the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy, by all means, God no, but they could make them better, okay? They can make them better. Michigan Gal 007 says, that's good to hear George is involved. He's involved in the Mandoverse stuff just because he knows Dave Filoni, and Dave Filoni's his apprentice, and Dave Filoni likes to keep him involved. Because who wouldn't? He's the freaking creator of the whole gosh darn thing. Let's keep him involved. Bring him to set once a day or once a month, whatever you want to do. Just keep George involved. Why not? You'll make the fans happy. Like, why does it have to be leaked out that George is involved? Why can't we just already know this? I don't know. Honey Badger says, I'm hanging out with my friends for a bit, but I'm still here listening through headphones. Yeah, no problem, Honey Badger. No problem. Aim Punched. Great name. Aim Punch says, I like the sequel. I liked the sequels, so seeing those connections were actually made me happy. There are a lot. Everybody attack Aim Punched in the chat. No, I'm just kidding. There are a lot of people who like the sequel trilogy, and I'm not like, I hate you guys, and I'm not like, how could you possibly like that garbage? Like, I can see the appeal, okay? Just for me, there's so many plot holes that I need them to be filled. It's like, to give you a sequel reference, it's like when BB-8 is trying to plug all the holes in what is that, Last Jedi? Plug all the holes, and then he uses his head to just plug all the holes. That is what I feel like the sequel trilogy is in a nutshell. It's a ton of just leakage coming out, and I'm trying to plug all the holes, but they don't make any gosh darn sense. So I really do hope the Mandoverse can keep me going. Jeffrey Snow just sends a downed frowning face emoji or something like that. Aim Punch says, come at me, chat. Ooh. Darth Lopez says, not a perfect ending, far from it. Ooh, interesting. Why do you think that, Darth Lopez? Why do you think that? And why are you so wrong? Wrong. Not a perfect ending, far from that. He repeats himself. Michigan Gal 007 says, I agree. I don't think it was a perfect ending because guess what? It wasn't an ending. But I do believe it wrapped up the 3.5 season story arc for Din Djarin and Grogu, reclaiming Mandalore, bringing the Mandalorians back together, all the different stories that have been told between these two characters, and now left it open for interpretation, left it open for endless possibilities in a 4th season, or maybe even just the movie moving on. But it also wrapped up Moff Gideon's character, what he's been doing this entire time, explained the entire plot of season 1 and season 2, what those cloning facilities were on Navarro, what Dr. Pershing was up to, what the freaking remnant of the Empire actually is with the Shadow Council and all that other stuff. And it wrapped it up in a nice bow and said, "Here you go." Gave us all the answers to the freaking quiz, and everybody seems to crap on it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Plot holes. We're not talking about the sequels anymore. Aim Punch says The Last Jedi was too controversial, and that's the only thing I'm iffy about. Well, that was Rian Johnson's intention, was to make the Last Jedi controversial. So yeah, exactly. Well, we got 13 people here right now. Smash a gosh darn like on this video, hit subscribe, and of course, link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars, where people are just talking about Star Wars all day long. So go join that Discord. Okay, back to business. Jeffrey says it was a poor ending of the season. Care to explain? Darth Lopez says plot holes and bad writing overall in the season was just subpar in my opinion. Again, your opinion. Too many useless episodes. Well, there are filler episodes in every single season of the show, but yes, I do agree that an 8-episode show deserves 0 filler episodes, and the fact that there were like 2 or 3 in this season, there's 2 or 3 in every season, but the fact that there were those filler episodes, they were really at wrong times. If you look at episode 6, it was a bad time for a filler episode. But when you look back at this season as a whole, you're gonna remember episode 2 of all the Mandalorian lore that we got in that, all the space fight scenes between Din and the pirates. You're gonna remember Din and Bo versus those TIE interceptors, Bo's planet getting destroyed. You're gonna remember the Order 66 flashbacks, seeing Ahmed Best's character come into live action, getting Ahmed Best that feel-good moment because he got so much crap for being Jar Jar. You're going to remember all of the good things, like in episode 5, where the pirates versus the Mandalorians on Navarro, some of the greatest action scenes we've seen in the Mandoverse ever. You're going to remember all of these cool things going into season 7, seeing the Shadow Council getting explanations about Grand Admiral Thrawn, explanations about Project Necromancer, a bunch of explanations about the First Order and how it's actually going to rise to power, because the remnant of the Empire is a lot more connected than we know. Seeing Moff Gideon in his cool Mandalorian Dark Trooper Beskar armor, awesome suit, having Force-sensitive clones introduced into canon, like chronologically for the first time, and having the awesome fight scene between the Imperial troopers and the Mandalorians jetpacking through the sky with Din stabbing them through the chest like Yoda during Order 66 on Coruscant, with the Darksaber, the armor wielding her hammer like freaking Thor. It was great. It was great. And of course, Din, Bo, and Grogu using the Force versus Praetorian Guards versus Moff Gideon, and of course, reclaiming Mandalore. Sounds like a good season to me. Let me scroll up a little bit because I missed a bunch of these chats. 1 second. Jeffrey says a fourth season, and I am not interested. Honestly, Dave needs to stop taking whatever he's on. Well, first of all, Dave Filoni was not involved all that much in this season. He only co-wrote 2 episodes, and he was heavily involved in the Ahsoka show, of course, because of the fact that it's his baby, the Ahsoka show is. So he was writing, directing, doing all that stuff for the Ahsoka show. So he was not really involved in this season all that much. And maybe that's what hurt this season, writing-wise or filler episode-wise. So yeah, maybe. But it's definitely not, Dave Filoni's definitely not the problem here. Michigan Gal 007 says, it was an excellent 3rd season. Thank you very much. Darth Lopez says, agreed. What do you agree? That he's wrong? Because he is. Aim Punch says, in quotations, cloning dark science secrets only the Sith knew about. I have no idea what you're quoting, but I'm guessing it's from the sequels. Okay. I'm going to butcher your name, so please correct me, because I don't like to butcher people's names, because I know that people don't like it. So, well, where did your name go? What the heck? Oh, there it is. Remn? please correct me because I don't want to keep messing it up. Says, it was great. It was great. Michigan Gal 007 says, YouTube recommended you. Oh, thank you, YouTube. So glad I found you. Well, of course, Michigan, you're glad you found me because I'm freaking awesome. But yeah, thanks for coming by the channel and hit that subscribe, of course. Of course, of course, of course. We're live every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And of course, we'll be having videos all about The Mandalorian, all about future projects. We got Jedi Survivor coming up. We got the Star Wars Vision Season 2 coming up. We're waiting for the Ahsoka show and all this crazy hype stuff. Whew, calm down. Okay. Darth Lopez says, out of 8 episodes, it was like 3. Okay, look back to Season 1 and Season 2. Season 1 was pretty much all filler. Season 2 had the Frog Lady episode, had the Bill Burr episode. That's 2. I can't think for the life of me back to that far. That was 2.5 years ago. I'll have to go look again, but yeah. Aimed Punch says, sounds like you enjoyed the finale. That makes me happy too. It was a little meh. I was a little meh about it. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of hate going around about this finale, but you know. What can you do? What can you do? Jeffrey Snow says, Darth Lopez, I only liked 1. You're really lucky that you have so many. I'm confused there. Swagger says, need a Thrawn D plus exclusive live action minifigure. I have no idea. Akin to Tales of the Jedi Dooku chapters. What? Oh, mini film. I said minifigure. A drawn mini film. Huh. Like introduce him. Thrawn comics or Timothy Zahn books give us some of his untold backstory. That's true. A lot of people who don't know who Thrawn is, as he comes in as the main villain, a lot of people who don't know who Thrawn is, it would be good to give like some smaller, like maybe Tales of the Jedi type thing for Thrawn, or like Marvel's doing with the special presentations to introduce Thrawn to the normies. But I think the Ahsoka show is going to do it just perfectly fine, because Dave Filoni has said it on multiple occasions that he wants each individual project to be like, you don't have to watch any other Star Wars content to understand the Ahsoka show or the Mandalorian. But it will help and make it more entertaining if you do watch those other projects. It's more of just, you don't have to. And it will still be enjoyable if you watch the Ahsoka show and you didn't like watch the other stuff, You know. Darth Lopez's best part of season 3 is watching your videos. Darth Lopez, you just made my night. Thank you very much. And yes, we will continue the videos going. I got a video coming out tomorrow about whether or not season 3 was good or bad. Spoiler alert, it was good. Okay. Michigan Gal 007 says, last night fight scene was awesome. Took me back to the first 3 movies. Yeah, it really did. The fight scenes in this last episode were really, really good. And yeah, it kind of did remind you of like A New Hope when instead of TIE fighters, instead of X-Wings, it was Mandalorians diving into the canyon, like they were diving into the canyon of the Death Star. Honey Badger says, okay, why did Gideon have Mandalorian armor if it wasn't explained? Who made it for him? The armorer. Fight me, Mike. Okay, I will fight you because look, he has Mandalorian armor, okay? Get over it. Maybe it's because he follows the same people who followed Maul. Think about it. Darth Maul's been dead for years. He only really ruled over Mandalore for a solid like 5 seconds, so he obviously probably still has some followers out there, but just because his helmet has horns and the armorer's helmet has horns doesn't make them connected. And this finale really made it seem like they definitely aren't connected at all. But I will fight you on it. Come at me. Come at me. It's pronounced Rim. Thank you, Rim. I did not want to mess that up, and if I do in the future, just scream at me. Just go, Mike, what, Mike, don't mess up my name, Mike, that's my name, damn it. Okay. Don't worry about it, Rim. I will try my best. Swagger says, I thought that the episodes John and Dave co-wrote were the strongest narratively via substance. Very true. Think about it. the two that Dave Filoni co-wrote on were the Order 66 flashback episode, which was, of course, spectacular. You had Ahmed Best's character, Kelleran Beck, come in and save Grogu, but you also had the other side, or the other paralleling story with Paz Vizsla's son being captured and all those Mandalorians having to chase down that giant pterodactyl thing. But the even stronger episode was Episode 7. He was a co-writer on Episode 7, which of course was the end of Paz Vizsla, but also it was the Shadow Council. It was Moff Gideon being brought back. It was his armor being back introduced. It was them going back to Mandalore. Yeah, don't ever mess with Dave Filoni's writing. He's the GOAT, okay? The GOAT. The GOAT. Michigan Gal 007 says, I liked and subscribed. Well, guess what? You're the best, and everybody else here should do the same thing. Okay. Calm down, Mike. Calm down. Jeffrey Snow says, it wasn't her, bro. Remember, Clan Saxon is the Mandalorian clan, which they have the knowledge of how to use Beskar. Yeah, no, the armor is definitely not the only Mandalorian that's left that can create Mandalorian armor. I just can't, I can't believe that that's true. I cannot. Honey Badger says, and I also want to ask, how did Gideon clone the Force into himself? Well, he didn't. He made clones of himself with the Force. He didn't put the Force into himself. It's explained in Legends and canon that you cannot do that, and Jorah Sabaoth is the only exception. Well, in Star Wars canon, we already have Force-sensitive clones, aka Supreme Leader Snoke. But yeah, it seems like it's supposed to be really, really hard to do. But the fact that he has so many of them, and obviously it's really, really hard to do because he's been trying to do it since the time of the Empire. He's been trying to do it for a long, long time. He's got Dr. Pershing working for him and all that stuff. He's got all of his resources expended working on this project. So obviously it's not easy. But yeah, there's definitely Force-sensitive clones. I mean, Supreme Leader Snoke was probably the first, but there's going to be more. Jeffrey Snow says, he is a sample of Grogu's blood from Season 2. That's also true. You have Grogu's blood in there. And he says, BRB, don't worry about it. Honey Badger says, correct, but still the armor is bad. She's not bad. Do we think the armor is bad? Somebody yell at Honey Badger and tell him he's wrong. Jeffrey Snow says, I honestly don't think that she means bad. I don't think she means bad of it, like she's hard on who, blah, 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 blah. Jeffrey, okay. So I tried. Swagger Like Us says, finale was great. The criticism of the finale reflects Season 3's dip in quality. Awkward structure, Lizzo, Jack Black cameos, Dr. Pershing's side quest, and Gideon's absence. Yeah, there's definitely some holes in this third season, but every season has its own holes. Even Season 2, which is almost nearly a masterpiece, literally some of the greatest Star Wars content ever, but it still has its holes. For sure. And you're going to have that. And Season 3 did seem to have a dip in a little bit of quality, but what I think hurt the season the most was the 2.5 year wait. You know? Honey Badger says, I loved Din's fight scenes. He John Wicked them. It was very John Wick and it was awesome. I'm gonna eat a French fry. Is that okay with everybody? I'm gonna eat a French fry, okay? No, I'm just eating in front of you. His hallway scene was epic. Honey Badger says, explain the living waters then, Mike, please. You saw it. You saw what I saw. It's true. And I might actually have an explanation for you, Honey Badger. So what he's talking about is we saw that the armor had living waters to create Paz Vizsla's son's helmet in Episode 1. Now here's my explanation for you. They were also going to use the water that was where the covert was in Episode 1. They were going to use that water to have Paz Vizsla's son take the creed. So I don't know. Maybe the armor just has some magic stuff up her sleeve, and she can just turn water into wine. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna eat another French fry because that first one was bomb. Okay. Okay. We're losing viewers rapidly as I start to eat French fries, so I'll stop. So I guess says, "I'm so glad the armor wasn't the spy." I am glad she wasn't the spy because for the Mandalorians moving on into the future, she's going to be a key role in that as she is the armorer. So yeah, hopefully. Blake Winfrey says, what's up, Blake? If Gideon's clones had Grogu's blood in them, does that mean they would enjoy eating frogs? I certainly would like to think so, yes. I certainly hope so, yes. Yes. To answer your question, yes. Yes, they do. They love to eat frogs. Exactly. Honey Badger says Dave is the goat. He really is the goat. And that's a cool goat emoji, by the way. Yes, exactly. All right, should we talk about some other news, or should we just keep going on and on about how great this season finale was? Huh? What do we think? It's actually really great that we have a community here that can appreciate how good this third season was, because I saw so much hate online about how bad it was. And of course, we can respect each other's opinions, because not everybody's going to love everything. And the fact that people here don't like it, people here do like it, and we can actually have a civil conversation. So uncivilized. I'm eating French fries anyway. I don't care. Swagger Like Us says, one of the aspects of season 3 was the leap in visual effects. The monsters looked impressive. The finale jetpack battle blew me away. I thought I would never have seen that in live action. Yeah, the visual effects in this third season were spectacular. Like, absolutely great in this third season. So, although the story was a little bit weaker than maybe you could say season 2, it was still better than the Book of Boba Fett. You could argue it was better than season 1. The visuals are spectacular in this season. Exactly, Swagger Like Us. Jeffrey Snow says, have you heard anything about season 2 of Kenobi? Yes, we actually did. At Star Wars Celebration, we heard that it's not happening, which is the greatest news we could have, because that show ended in a way where it doesn't need a second season, and we shouldn't get a second season. So a second season to that show would honestly not be good. Rim says, thank you, and thank you for your show. Hey, thank you for your show. Well, that doesn't make sense. Let me rephrase. Thank me for my show. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. Honey Badger says, I'm gonna watch Andor. Yes, Andor, and that's how good the finale was. Din Djarin is alive. So before Ahsoka, I'm gonna go in and watch Andor, and then Rebels again. I just finished watching Rebels before Mando season 3, and I'm probably gonna go watch it again because it's just that good. Rebels is the most underrated piece of Star Wars content that ever existed. Yeah. Jeffrey Snow says, Mike, leave Fett out of this. Boba Fett? I mean, Beta Fett? I really hope Boba gets his second season, honestly. Honey Badger says, she has horns. Explain the horns. You want an explanation for the horns? What if underneath that helmet, she's a Zabrak? Or what is it, Zabrak? What is Darth Maul's species? Not Zabrak, is it? No, it's a, is it Zabrak? What if she just has horns on her head? Huh? Ever think of that? What if she's not human? But her horns are definitely way different than Moff Gideon's, okay? So it's completely different. It's fire and ice, okay? Blake says, the second season of Kenobi could have Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan and retain his consciousness after death. Oh, to retain his consciousness after death. Yeah, but are you going to watch a whole season of Obi-Wan just sitting there talking to Qui-Gon, learning how to become a Force ghost for 8 episodes? Like, no, that's there needs to be a little bit of mystery, and we know that he's going off to train with Qui-Gon, so why on earth would we need a whole season about that? It would just be dumb. It would be dumb. Sorry, Blake, but it would be dumb. Soccer says best Star Wars stream, the best Star Wars streamer on the net at Mike. Well, thank you very much. But that's just a fact, and we already knew that. Just people don't know about it yet, so go tell your friends. Duh. Thanks, Soccer much appreciated. Blake Winfrey says, totally agree, Rebels is 10 out of 10. It is so underrated, and the fact that so many people don't watch it because they just think it's a kid's show is blasphemy. It's crazy. It's craziness. It's craziness. It's craziness. Jeffrey Snow says, Mandalorians are warriors. They adore it, and yes, Maul is a Zabrak. Zabrak, yes, thank you very much. Honey Badger says, no, Mike, the water sparkled into the... the water sparkled in the same way. She's evil. She's not evil. Get over it. She's not the spy. She is a good girl. Good. That sounded so... Okay. Good character. Sorry. So we're up to 19 votes on that poll, and 74% of you say yes, you like the finale. Great news. I just was very happy that it was good. As a Star Wars fan, you want Star Wars to succeed. You want Star Wars to be good. And if it was bad, I would be sitting up here telling you it was bad. And I would be like, well, this all seems horrible. But again, with the Ahsoka show coming out in August, very, very, very excited for that. And all this other stuff to look forward to for Star Wars with the Skeleton Crew later, Acolyte next year, but not even just shows. Video games like Survivor comes out in like a week and a half, or actually 1 week from now, right? Comes out on the 28th. What's the day? The 20th? In 8 days. 8 days till Survivor, which we will be streaming on this channel. So yeah. Swagger Like Us says, April 28th, 2023 is Jedi Survivor. Chat, I can't wait to see Cal's story connect to Ahsoka in the New Beyond. I really hope that theory is true. I really, really hope that theory is true, that is the case, and we actually do see Cal Kestis come into live action in either the Ahsoka show or the Skeleton Crew show. I could definitely see it being the Skeleton Crew show just to elevate that show a little bit more, because not a lot of people are looking forward to that show all that much. And the Ahsoka show is going to have so much going on with introducing the New Beyond, introducing Thrawn, introducing Ezra, introducing Sabine, introducing Hera Syndulla, introducing Chopper, all these characters they have to introduce to people who haven't seen Rebels. So there's a lot to go on in just 8 episodes of the Ahsoka show. Like, needless to say, I don't think there's going to be a single filler episode in the Ahsoka show. I think it's just going to be straight banger the entire time. But I don't see room for Cal Kestis. But that's just me. Jeffrey Snow says, bro, leave her alone. You didn't see how she wasn't caring to drop normally into battle. She went out like a real G from the crib, floating down in a fierce battle, hammering away. This is the way. Yeah, she's the GOAT, okay? She's now Thor of the Mandalorians, okay? The armor is awesome, okay? Okay. So, you guys want to hear some crazy news that was like really put a damper on my mood? Do you want to hear some crazy news that put a damper on the mood? Battlefront 3 was almost ready for launch in 2008. You ready for this? This sucks. This sucks, okay? So, the sequel to the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, not EA's version, not the new version, the old version, was canceled, quote, 2 yards away from the finish line, according to the ex-free radical developer Michael Barclay, okay? He says, I feel like it's been long enough now to come out and say that Star Wars Battlefront 3 was gonna be legit incredible, and the fact that it got canceled 2 yards away from the finish line is an absolute crime. Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, like back in 2006, 5, whatever it was. The original Battlefront 2 was awesome. It was awesome, okay? I was very, very young when it came out, of course, but I just remember it was one of the first video games that I ever actually played, and the fact that the third one got stolen from us It is rude. It's rude. It's honestly really upsetting. And honestly, the fact that we're not going to be getting a Battlefront 3 now is even worse. Why can we not get Din Djarin in a Battlefront 3 or Ahsoka in a Battlefront 3? It's crazy. 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 What do you think? Rim says, Rebels was awesome. Yes, it was. It was fantastic. All right, I'll stop eating. I'm sorry. It was awesome. All right, let's read this article about The Mandalorian Season 3, and we'll talk about how it's wrong, okay? So, The Mandalorian Season 3 finale twist is a massive disappointment. A plot that happened in The Mandalorian Season 3 finale turned out to be a major disappointment due to the importance throughout the entire series. Warning, spoiler for The Mandalorian Chapter 24 of The Mandalorian. Oh yeah, if you guys don't want spoilers for the finale of The Mandalorian, I would just get on out of here, you know? We're only an hour and 11 minutes in, so I wouldn't want you guys to get spoiled any of this fun finale. So please, if you haven't seen the finale of The Mandalorian, please just check on out, okay? Moff Gideon's disappointing clone plot twist. In The Mandalorian Season 3 finale, the reasoning behind Moff Gideon's obsession with clones was revealed. After R5 opened the barriers leading to Gideon's command center, on Mandalore, Din and Grogu entered the room filled with multiple pods that contained clones of Gideon himself. So these are the pods right here. This is Din and Grogu, or IG-12. Grogu who was noticeably curious about what he was seeing, even walked up to one of the pods, which resulted in a close-up shot of Gideon's clone's opening its eye. So this is Gideon's clone. Handsome fella. However, the scene ended quickly as quickly as it began when Din Djarin destroyed all the pods at once, seemingly putting an end to all of Gideon's clones as well. We're seeing here them exploding. When Din and Grogu then come face to face just seconds later, a plot twist revealed that Gideon was constructing clones of himself and making them force sensitive, so that they could be more powerful than he ever was. This plot twist, disappointingly, was revealed through exploratory dialogue from Gideon to explain why he kept wanting to get his hands on Grogu and needed his blood, of course, throughout the show's first 2 seasons. Also, just like the previous scene where Mando destroyed all the pods, this plot twist and explanation of such an important plot point was quickly thrown aside when Gideon and Din Djarin began fighting. So obviously, disappointment. It was one of the more disappointing things, but I think it was more to set up the fact that you can clone Force sensitives and explain Supreme Leader Snoke more than anything, and explain Palpatine's return more than just Moff Gideon was trying to get Grogu's blood to create Force sensitives. Now, Grogu's blood could still be what created Supreme Leader Snoke, but that's a whole nother story, you know? Swagger Like Us says, been rewatching Rebels 2. Rim, it ages like fine wine. It really does just keep getting better every time you watch it. Rebels is goated. Let's be real. It's goated. You ready for this? Are you actually ready for this? Are you ready for this? Something you never thought you would ever hear from an actor in Hollywood. Are you ready? Star Wars' Ahsoka star explains why gender doesn't matter in the franchise. We're hitting uncharted territories right here, ladies and gentlemen. Uncharted territories. So, Ahsoka cast talks transcending genders. Ready? At Star Wars Celebration, Harrison Dula's actress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, quick little fun fact for you guys, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is married to a one Ewan McGregor. Yes, the guy who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Harrison Dula and Obi-Wan Kenobi are married. Boom. Confessed to the rap that she didn't even notice that Ahsoka was a female-led show. So, I was saying to Rosario Dawson that I didn't even notice until we had been shooting for a little while that it was such a female-led show because we never commented on it. Instead, Winstead explains that it's just Star Wars, and that's really revolutionary. So she goes on to say it was just Star Wars. We just are all here to make Star Wars. So one day I'm like, oh my God, wait a second, this is really amazing. So there's something really revolutionary to me about the fact that we didn't even need to talk about it. So this has been a problem for a lot of people, a lot of Star Wars fans, saying that they're only making a Rey movie to elevate a female character. They're only making, or some of the comments that were made by the Acolyte cast at Star Wars Celebration, and they were talking about how they need more females in Star Wars. And here's my take on all this. You ready? As Dr. Robot Nick sends in the stupid sign language from Star Trek. Here's my take on all this. My favorite character in Star Wars is Ahsoka Tano. The fact that she's a female means absolutely nothing. All it has to do is with her story, her character. Like, who cares if it's a female-led movie or a male-led movie? Who cares? As long as the story's good, as long as the characters are entertaining, as long as there's a story arc, who cares? Ahsoka Tano is one of the greatest characters in Star Wars. So is Anakin, and no one cares. The fact that this is even being said is great news. The fact that Mary Elizabeth Winstead was like, I didn't even realize this was a fully led, female-led show. Look at it. It's Ahsoka. It's Sabine. It's Hera Syndulla. Even the villain, Morgan Elsbeth, is a woman. But no one cares. You want to know why? Because we love these characters from Rebels. We love these characters from the Clone Wars. We don't care at all. And the only people who complain about this kind of stuff are just actual crazy people. And if you complain about it, well, let's be real. You're crazy. It's wild. Because as long as the character's good, as long as it's an entertaining story that has a story arc that is good, who cares? I don't know. That's my take on it. That's my take, and I'm sticking to it. So I guess says Rosario is right. It's mostly females in Rebels, but fans enjoy the series due to the character arcs. Exactly. Dr. Robot Nick says, Rebels was dope. I'm loving all the Rebels love today, by the way. I'm loving all the Rebels love today. Dr. Robot Nick says, long live and prosper, stupid. We don't like that talk around here. But Star Trek is not allowed. Get out of here. No, I'm kidding. Michigan Gal 007 says, exactly, who cares? Just entertain me with good quality writing quality written shows and movies. Exactly. Who cares? I just like saying who cares. Who cares? This is some fine bourbon. See, if you guys actually knew me, like, personally, you know that I'm 20 years old. So first of all, I wouldn't be legally able to drink this. But also, that I've never drinking a drink of alcohol in my life. And even when I turn 21 on May 30th, write it in your calendars. My birthday's May 30th. I won't even be drinking because I just doesn't interest me. So yes, this was in fact water, and I'm going to spill some of it on me to prove to you guys, but then I'm going to go to the good cup that follows orders, okay? Well, that was a lot more than I thought. Wow. Now my leg is really wet. I don't know what to do. Okay. Moving on. Moving on. Jeffrey Snow says, "No, Star Trek here. You have the wrong address." Dr. Robot Nick says, "Happy 420." Oh yeah, I forgot today was a holiday. Here, I'll eat a French fry for 420. I think I'm losing it, guys. I think I'm actually losing it. It's okay. You guys will come down with me. No, don't worry about it. Dr. Robot Nick says, definitely liked the finale, but there was a lot of plot holes. What plot holes? Everybody keeps saying there's plot holes. What were the plot holes? Somebody please inform me of a plot hole in this finale. Anybody, please. You want a french fry? You want a french fry? I can get you some french fries. I know a guy. A french fry guy. Yeah, that's right. I know a french fry guy. Let's talk about Grogu's name change, okay? Din Grogu. First of all, was it necessary? Was it necessary? And second of all, isn't it the greatest thing you've ever heard in your life? The only thing that would be better than that, better than Din Grogu. By the way, I'm not going to be calling him Din Grogu because I'm never going to remember, and I'm just going to call him Grogu, okay? But the only thing that would be better than Din Grogu would be Grogu Djarin. Try saying that 10 times fast. Right now. Right now. Right now. Ready? I'll just... ready? We'll do it together. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Grogu Djarin, Grogu Djarin, Grogu Djarin, Grogu Djarin, Grogu Djarin. It would have been way better than Din Grogu. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Jeffrey Snow says one plot hole. How did Axe fuel last as long in the episode? Foundlings, they barely went here and there, and bam, it's finished. So I think I know what you're talking about, but that okay. So the plot hole is that Axe's jetpack fuel lasted him up until the atmosphere. And it didn't last when they were chasing the pterodactyl in episode 4. Is that what you're saying? So here is the explanation for that. You ready? Go rewatch episode 4. They're chasing that pterodactyl for like hours. The sun is really high in the sky, and by the time their jetpack fuel runs out, the sun is setting. Like it's almost down. And there's a cut in the scene to, again, show that there's a huge time gap here. Their fuel in their jetpacks lasts a long time. The only thing is, that pterodactyl was flying a long, long way. So yes, Axe Woves going from the surface of the planet to the upper atmosphere is not nearly as far as the length that they went in that 4th episode. So plot hole, more like you weren't paying attention. It wasn't even close. Like there obviously is a time jump in that 4th episode. You can tell by where the sun is in the sky. You can tell by the cut in the scene. And of course, it's just obvious. Michigan Gal 007 says, I was wondering about the jet fuel too. Thank you for explaining. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, just go rewatch episode 4 or just even that scene. It's obvious. There's a huge time jump. That chase of the pterodactyl initially is very, very long. Yeah. Jeffrey Snow says, remember they got hit with sometimes jetpack wasn't active and Axe is coming from underground straight to the atmosphere. That's far, bro. Like what? Sure, it's far, but let's see. On Earth, isn't like from here to the upper atmosphere like 2 miles or something like that? I don't even know. I'm no science major, that's for sure. But isn't it like something like that? Well, they were chasing that pterodactyl across the freaking planet. So yeah. No, it's not even close. Dr. Robot Nick says, at the beginning of the episode, Din was being escorted, and then randomly Grogu is just there. Makes 0 sense. Well, Grogu isn't there immediately, but yes, he does show up eventually, but that's because he went back to save his freaking dad. What? Season 2 is filled with way more plot holes than this. You guys have to remember, how about the fact that the finale of Season 2, which everybody seems to love so much, which again, I love so much. I'm not crapping on Season 2 for any means, but here's a gigantic plot hole that I'm sure you missed. The episode opens with Dr. Pershing in a Imperial shuttle that's being chased down by the Slave One in Boba Fett and Din and Cara Dune and all the others. And they capture the ship and they kill the Imperials on board and take Dr. Pershing. How on earth did they know where Dr. Pershing was? Literally the entire last episode before that finale was explaining how they were going to find where Moff Gideon's ship was. How did they find out where the ship that was transferring Dr. Pershing was? Like, if you're wondering how Grogu took a right turn down a different hallway than the rest of the Mandalorians to get to Din, I don't know. I don't know. Swagger says Star Wars gets a lot of criticism on YouTube, but nothing Tony Gilroy or John and Dave have done is woke. Woke is such a freaking broad term that makes no sense, okay? Let's be real. Their show have strayed from that stuff, that kind of stuff. The MCU, on the other hand, has really enveloped it. Yeah, so you got a point there that John and Dave and even Tony Gilroy don't really care about that kind of stuff. But again, like I've been harping on it, even about the female-led shows. Who cares? Jeffrey Snow says 2 miles, lol. Okay, how far is it from the atmosphere? Let's find out. How far is it from Earth's surface to space? Okay? We're doing some investigation. Okay, it's 62 miles. I was a little bit off. But even still, the planet that the covert was on is, I'm sure, in diameter a lot longer than 62 miles. So chasing that big ass bird, they could have been chasing it for a lot longer than 62 miles. And that's to space too. That's not to the upper atmosphere where the fleet was, but yeah. Jeffrey Snow says they have route coordinates of high-ranking members of the Imperial that was in the drive Din and Baldhead guy went for on Morak. They have route coordinates. Oh, you mean for Dr. Pershing in Season 2? They were there to get Moff Gideon's cruiser's location. Not Dr. Pershing's. That was never intended. That was never planned. That was never explained. That was a gigantic plot hole. I remember a few fans even mentioned it when Season 2 came out. But again, who cares when the episode is just that good? When Luke Skywalker shows up, who cares? Grogu turning it down a different hallway is nowhere close to that kind of a plot hole. Swagger, like I says, Mando Season 2 finale was the series magnum opus. You could say that, but maybe they haven't hit that magnum opus yet. You never know. Jeffrey Snow says, Mike, one major factor why fans loved Season 2's finale was the end credits scene. Yeah, true. You mean Boba going to kill Bib Fortuna? I guess, yeah, it set up something for the future. They did kind of miss out on giving a post-credits scene, but it was more to end the story arc of fighting Moff Gideon, getting all the Mandalorians back together, all that other stuff. The 3-season arc, again, the number 3 pops up because of a trilogy, but the 3-season arc being completed, and that's why the story is over for now, at least. There will be a Season 4, but it will start a new story. And the Ahsoka show is going to kick off in a completely different place in the galaxy, completely different story in general. It's not going to be connected to the Mando time, the 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, like the Book of Boba Fett was. So yes, I think that it was intended to be more of an ending than like Season 2 or Season 1 was, because Ahsoka is going to be such a completely different thing. Dr. Robot Nick says 62 miles is equivalent to 3 miles, is close to 3 miles, 2 miles. Yes, exactly. I was a bit off, but not by much. Jeffrey Snow says, yes, they were there for Gideon, yes, but there was other data on the drive. So we know, call it a 50-50 hit or miss. I mean, I guess. Sure. I'm just saying. There was no plot holes in this finale, and people are arguing about it. Honey Badger says, I'm back home. Sorry, what did I miss? Nothing. We just sat here in silence waiting for your return, actually. True story. True story. Yeah, you missed a lot. Long live the live stream. Long live the live stream. All right, let's get into this right here. Whoa, what the heck just happened? Whoa. Do you want to see? All right, let me read this for you. This says, season 3, a polarizing season 3 finale of The Mandalorian. So this is their take. You ready? Season 3 of The Mandalorian, the finale of season 3 of The Mandalorian has already caused many fans to have mixed reactions about what occurred in the episode. In other words, some are praising the finale and some feel that it didn't live up to the hype. Interesting. Mama's Geeky, what a great name, shares her reaction on Twitter saying that the season 3 ended well. She says, "The Mandalorian season 3 finale was a weird one, don't get me wrong. I loved the action and the heart that was packed in. But I feel it was too final. I'm curious to see where things go from here, but count me in. For a season with the high highs and low lows, it ended very, very well." I mean, she hit the nail on the head right there. For a season with highs and lows, it really ended very, very well. And of course, the future of Star Wars is very, 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 very bright. This other person, however, D-Spot Darko says, season 3 of The Mandalorian is the most mid shit I've seen in a while. Like, for real. I felt practically nothing watching most of the season, and especially while watching this finale. Do you want to know why stuff like this really pisses me off? Because D-Spot Darko, by the way, great name, says season 3 of The Mandalorian was the most mid shit I've seen in a while. Like, for real, I felt practically nothing. Well, for real, I don't give two flying fucks about what you think. Like, when you start your sentence off with, "The Mandalorian is the most mid shit I've seen in a while," like, for real, I for real don't want to for real read the for real rest of your for real comment. Don't you just love it? Okay, next, moving on. Jalen says, "They set up so many things in this season and The Mandalorian in this season of The Mandalorian that went absolutely nowhere in the finale." I disagree with that, but I can see where he's at with that. And maybe the things that they set up, like the Jack Black's character and stuff like that planet, maybe is a plot point in the next season, something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me catch up here. Swagger Like Us says, I just wish future Mando and Bad Batch seasons focused more on the main plot line. It's true. I think the filler episodes need to go, for sure. Dr. Robot Nick says, this is the way. Michigan Gal 007 says, it was a fine finale. It was a fine finale. Dr. Robot Nick says, that was a Moth clone, no mustache. He has a mustache, guys. I mean, I've heard this theory. I went back and looked. He's got a mustache. Why would they have a clone of Moff? It makes no sense. Kyle says that was deep. What was my for real comment really deep? It was, wasn't it? Swagger Like Us says, the finale finally resolved many Clone Wars threads. That's true. It didn't just tie up a bunch of threads from season 1, season 2, and the Book of Boba Fett, and season 3 of The Mandalorian. It tied up some Clone Wars threads with Bo-Katan's character, Mandalore as a whole, and Mandalore as well. Crazy. Jeffrey Snow says, as Swagger says that what are going to do with Boba? He's clone sister. Have they met each other? I remember Fett saying to Fennec in episode 3 that he wanted to start a family. Yeah, I don't think Boba's going to be meeting Omega anytime soon. I don't know. Maybe, Jeffrey. Sorry. Dr. Robot Nick says, hoping at least one Force-sensitive Maul clone survived. It's true, they could have survived. They all got blown up, but let's be real, they had the Force. Maybe just one of them could have survived. But even if they didn't, the Empire now knows how to make Force-sensitive clones. So that's kind of crazy. And of course, Snoke is going to be involved with that as well. Dr. Robot Nick says, I think they purposely left things open to resume on later episodes years later. Yes, that's very true. I mean, they're always going to do that. They don't want this story to end. But yeah, no, they definitely, although it was like a ending, it opens up the world for more adventures with Din and Grogu and for other Mandalorian held events. Think about it. When Thrawn shows up with this undead army or his gigantic army from the New Beyond, who's going to fight them? Ahsoka and Din? No, it's going to be the entire army that's being built up by the Mandalorians. So it's going to be awesome. Kyle says, you for real rant. Yes, that was super deep. It was deep, wasn't it? It was quite deep. Dr. Robot Nick says, because they need to bring him back because no ideas. They need to bring him back because no ideas. Need to bring him back because no ideas. Who? Din Djarin? What? I'm lost. Dr. Robot Nick says Din Grogu will tame the Mythosaur and rule Mandos. Yeah, they really did set up Grogu to be a type of ruler, or started to tease at it in this season when Axe and Paz Vizsla are going at it in like episode 6 or 7, on the ship, and Din and Bo are like, we can't step in, and Grogu steps in and stops the fight. He's the middleman there in between the two factions of the Mandalorians, and of course in this finale they set him up to be the one who's going to tame the Mythosaur, because when he looks down at the water, he clearly senses the Mythosaur down there, and we get to see the Mythosaur as well. Very, very true. Kyle says, Mike, you should really run for president, not gonna lie, for real. I just might. Sadly, I'm 20, and I think you have to be like, what, 35 to run for president? Maybe. I'll make French fries illegal, so I can only be the one who eats them. Dr. Robot Nick says, Moth, why do you keep calling him Moth? Moth, they brought him back 3 times. It's true, they brought Moff Gideon back many, many times, but I think he's gone for good this time. Now, maybe they bring him back, but like, why would you at this point? Like, you're going to bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn to be the big bad, so no more need for Moff Gideon. Kyle says, definitely as a 35-year-old. Yeah, so in about 15 years or 14 years in a month, I will run for president. So Honey Badges says, Mike, please say his name correctly. It's Sir Jedi Mandalorian Din Grogu. Okay, that's what I will refer to him from now on as the Sir. Wait, was he knighted? Oh, he was knighted by Lizzo. I forgot. Sir Jedi Mandalorian Din Grogu. Of course. How could I forget? Swaggerly Gus says, Mike, like you said, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Exactly. Yeah, Mando Season 3 had issues, but sees at last. Okay. Jedi Survivors right around the corner. Star Wars Vision Season 2, Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. They're all on the way. It's going to be great. Sorry, that message went through too fast. No, don't worry about it. I understood what you meant. Should we keep reading these people's things? Let's keep going. Scotty's Designs says, absolute waste of my time, honestly. Okay, wow. Absolute waste of my time, honestly. So many things built up across the season and nothing paid off in this finale. What? Sometimes I feel like these people just didn't watch the same episode that I did. Some people just didn't watch the same season. Like, their Disney Plus had a different season 3 than mine. Like, what? So many things built up across the season and nothing pays off in the finale. Nothing pays off in that finale. Nothing. You're stupid. Okay. Great action scenes, but in terms of story, nothing unexpected and nothing rewarding as a viewer. Very sad to see. Nothing unexpected. Force sensitive cloning Moff Gideon. I can't do it sometimes. I can't do it. Some people are just so dumb that it just irks my mind. Roland Creative says, truly don't know how to feel about the Mandalorian Season 3 finale. Lots of emotions, but a lot of missed marks too. At least that's a respectable comment. Respectable. Joey J. Clark said, the Mandalorian's finale was decent. felt a bit rushed and curious to see where things go. I do feel Thrawn should have been teased by seeing his reaction to the events of the episode. Enjoyed the fights, and I felt like a wonderful throwback to the original Death Star scene. That's a good take. Not seeing Thrawn, though, is still a good thing, I think. He's in the New Beyond right now. He shouldn't be involved in anything going on inside the galaxy right now. So I do hope that the Ahsoka show is going to explain all that. And Thrawn shouldn't have been involved. I agree. Ozzy Mar says, The Mandalorian Season 3 finale was good. It had a great resolution to it, but it kind of felt rushed. Could it have been a bit longer? I would have been more satisfied if there had been some sort of tie-up or tie-in to Ahsoka or something. Again, a valid point, but it's supposed to be the ending of this story for Din and Grogu and Bo-Katan even as well, and Moff Gideon. But yeah, I respect that one. I respect it. Echoes of Orion say, the finale of The Mandalorian Season 3 was possibly one of the most meh conclusions to a season of any show I have ever watched. So many things they could have done better throughout the whole season, but it felt like so many things were left behind and not concluded. Do better. You know what, Echo of Orion? You do better, because it's Echo of the number 0, Rian. So might want to check spell check, stupid. Okay, let's calm down. And read Richard Nebbins. Richard Nebbins says, The Mandalorian was pretty enjoyable. But it didn't quite live up to the hype that it had built up for it. Fan reveals, a kick-ass final battle, and an emotional Mando and Grogu moment, but other than that, it mostly felt a little flat. Can't wait for Season 4, though. Okay, so fun reveals, kick-ass final battles, and emotional Mando and Grogu moments, but other than those great things that just happened in front of our eyes. Stupid. Lefty Junior Gamer. Oh, I can't wait to see what this guy has to say. Season ending for Mandalorian. The fight was good, but it felt a little rushed. Again, that seems like a common thing. Felt like it should have been a longer episode, and it could have explained more things. But overall, a good episode. Just didn't feel like a season finale. I respect it. I respect their views. Except they're all garbage, okay? Okay. Dr. Robot Nick says, this is the way. Everybody likes, let's spam the chat with this is the way, please, as I try to, my leg is soaked. I poured so much water on my leg. Jesus. I think one stream, I should pour the entire cup of the good cup that follows orders on my head. What do we think? Anybody? Look at all of this is the ways. Okay, Kyle, calm down. I just meant one. What do we think? Should I dump this all on my head one stream? I think when we get monetized, that's when the channel's going to become really, really fun. Because then I can be like, look, guys, if we hit this certain mark, I'll dump this entire cup of water on my head. Because I'll do crazy stuff like that, you know? Honey Badger says, hey, I hope we don't see Bo again. Rude. Mando Season 4 needs to focus strictly on Din and Sir Jedi Mandalorian Din Grogu's story. Love it. And that should conclude with Season 5 and the Mandalorian movie. This is the way. Well, I think it will just be Season 4 and then the Mandalorian movie. I don't think they'll have time to do a Season 5. Maybe they will, but I doubt it. But no, I think Bo is going to be involved in the Mando movie because her and the Mandalorians are going to be building back up together on Mandalore, and then they're going to have to fight Grand Admiral Thrawn. But yeah, I think Bo will definitely not be involved heavily in a Season 4, but she will be as well. This is the way. Thank you, guys. Swagger Lega says, I wish they honored Paz's sacrifice. Yeah, I guess maybe had a funeral for him or something along those lines. Yeah, that's true. You did see his son get officially brought into the Mandalorian Creed, but yeah, true. Kyle says, I'll pour it on your head, special guest. I think that sounds great. I think we should definitely do that. Okay. All right, we're going to get on out of here. We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes. Wow, that's a long time. And, of course, we will have... Oh, Nico just showed up. Damn it. Okay, so what's up, Nico? We're going to get on out of here. Sorry, buddy. We're going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best for sticking around this stream. Of course, we'll have a stream on Saturday, a stream on Tuesday, a stream on Thursday. The streams are not going to stop because The Mandalorian stopped. We got a lot to talk about as Star Wars fans. Of course, news will be coming out about the Ahsoka show. We got a ton of fun stuff to look forward to for the rest of the year. Star Wars is back. It is literally the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan with all the great projects coming up in the future. It's going to be mighty fun to be a Star Wars fan, so stick around the channel, stick around, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and of course, hit the bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. Okay. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around. Oh, look at all these awesome messages. Kyle says he'll do it in the Boba Fett helmet. Okay. Deal. Michigan Gal 007 says, great stream. You're a great stream. Thank you for coming by the channel. Talker Like Us says, for Mandalore. Facts. All right. You guys are the absolute best. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your nighttime. Shout out to the gaming channel. We just got a gaming channel going. It's called The Eggs. If you can find The Eggs, because there's probably 1,000 The Eggs gaming channels, if you can find ours, that would be special, okay? So good luck. Happy hunting. And have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your evening. Dr. Robot Nick, get out of here with those Star Trek gang signs, okay? And and may the Force be with you. Always. What's the profile picture? It's an egg. It's actually 2 eggs with glasses, okay? Yeah, go try and find it. You guys are the absolute best. Have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your lives. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.